Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Green Glow Gourmet. I'm your host, Roxanne, and for tonight's recipe, we are going to be making gnocchi with eggplant, spinach, and asparagus. So I will give you the recipe. This was inspired by the McDougalls. John McDougall was a doctor, plant-based, whole food plant-based doctor who unfortunately passed away, but he wrote several books. He believed in eating a lot of potatoes. Potatoes will not make you fat. It's actually what you put on your potatoes, and you can look him up online. I'll put a link below. He's written The Starch Solution as well as many other books. Definitely worth checking out. So I made some changes to this recipe. They actually make it with butternut squash. I had some eggplant from my garden, so I decided to use eggplant instead of the butternut squash. So it calls for a half a cup of pine nuts toasted. I did not have pine nuts, so I used cashews. And that's another thing. When you're going to make a recipe, make sure you have all of the ingredients. And if you don't, it's fine. Just look online to see what you can swap for that particular ingredient that you don't have. So since I didn't have pine nuts, I used cashews and they worked fine. 1 onion chopped. I buy my onions already chopped. Anything that I can do that's going to save time, I prefer to do that. I don't like to spend a lot of time prepping and in the kitchen and preparing and cutting. So anything that can cut and reduce that time, I think is a huge time saver, and that's what works best for me. 4 large cloves of garlic chopped. I buy the minced garlic, so it's already done. I used 2 eggplants, and what I did was I cut them in 1-inch circles, and then I roasted them in the oven on 400 degrees for 15 minutes, and then I flipped them and roasted them for another 15 minutes on the other side. 2 cups of fresh spinach, half cup fresh basil, or you can just use the basil in the jar. 1.5 cups asparagus. You're going to cut those into 1.5-inch pieces, and 2 packages of potato gnocchi. I used 1 box and it worked just fine. You can always adjust your recipe. So if it's calling for a larger amount of ingredients, but you know you're just cooking for yourself, cut it in half. Or you can always make it as it states and then freeze it and have leftovers, so that if you come home and you're busy, you don't have time to cook, you can pull something right out of your freezer and dinner's already prepared for you. So what I did first was I toasted my cashews. At the same time, I was roasting my eggplant in the oven because that takes some time. And then after I toasted the cashews, you want to make sure when you're toasting any type of nut on your stove that you are watching it and you're making sure that you're moving it around in the pan so that it does not burn, because 1 minute you think it's taking forever, the next minute it's burnt and you have to start over. So just make sure you keep an eye on it. It only takes a few minutes when you're doing that with the nuts. Then I placed my onion and garlic in a pan, and I put in a little bit of water. I water saute. I do not use oil. So I just sauteed the onions and the garlic in the pan. That took a few minutes. I set it aside. And then I took my fresh asparagus, I chopped it, and then I actually put it in boiling water for about 3 to 5 minutes until it was soft. Then you take your gnocchi and you can just cook it according to the directions on the box. I bought potato gnocchi. I found it at Walmart. It's the least expensive. You can always find it online, but Walmart had the best price. And you're just going to cook it, like I said, according to the package directions. So you just boil the water, you put your gnocchi in, it will rise to the top. Then what you do after it rises to the top, you're going to drop your spinach in there on top of the gnocchi and let it cook for about 2 minutes and then drain it. And you can either serve this hot or you can serve this cold. It works either way. It seems like it's a lot of effort, but it's well worth it. And it turned out delicious. I made homemade marinara sauce the other day, so that is what I am going to use on top of this dish. And If you have any comments or questions, please put them below. I answer all of your questions. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I come to you with a new recipe every week. If you're interested in group or individual coaching, please visit my website at www.greenglowcoaching.com, and we have to try this. So I cooked this. I had it in the refrigerator overnight. I was going to try it cold without any sauce at first. Then I'll add the sauce and I'll heat it and eat it that way as well. So it's a little bit different. We have to try a bite. I'm going to get a little bit of everything in here. The eggplant, the gnocchi, the asparagus, the spinach, the cashews, onion and garlic. It's hard to try to get everything on the spoon. Very good. This has a very good flavor. I'm looking forward to trying this. You could eat this plain, cold. It's delicious. It has plenty of flavor. I am going to try it warm with the marinara sauce. Please let me know what you try. And here's to a healthier you. I'll see you next week.